I'm going to title this video, Everything Works Until It Doesn't. We're pouring the last 5-inch thick floor slab and 11-inch thick footer for the walls for our solar array. You'll notice how dry they pour the concrete. You can see individual rocks sitting up here. It's not flowing anyplace. And everything's going all right at this point. And you'll notice that there's no shadows to speak of. I mean, well, there's just not much in the way of shadows. That's because it's got overcast. And so we're going to keep on pouring. Here he is. He's finishing it. And you notice that we've had water rise and water fall, and he's finishing away. This is Boyette, the foreman, and he's going to put a finish on it. Not patting him on the back or anybody else, but give the guy his due. He puts a finish on there that you'd be proud of in the U.S. Not what you see in other YouTube videos in the Philippines. Of course, compared to what they do in Jamaica, the standard Philippine finish is beautiful. I can't imagine paying the people that pour concrete in Jamaica. It's the ugliest stuff. There's 1/4-inch ridges and low spots and high spots all over it. Looks like you did it with a pitchfork, for a trowel. Oh, I'm sorry, Jamaica, but look at your videos and you'll see what you got. Okay. This was poured on a day when it was well over 100 degrees. We're talking March and April in the Philippines. Midday, you can hit 110 degrees. It doesn't do it all the time. We're really happy with our average 78 degrees, plus or minus 3 the rest of the year. It drops down to around 70 at night. So the climate is really great. But we're trying to beat the actual rainy season and get floors down. We're going to do walls and stuff, but we got a bunch of floors down now. We can put forms up, slip forms, and do walls year round. Throw a tarp or tarpaulin over it, and come back when it's not raining. So we've had a squall come through here. You can see that a lot of it is dried up instantly from the concrete being 110 degrees. It almost dries as it hits. However, it does not dry out here on the concrete that's still wet. So we got water out here, 1/8 of an inch deep, covering a third of it. There's not a lot of rain pock marks here on what he's finished, so I think he's probably in the picture finishing at the same time, trying to catch up what he's doing. And there's some more of our water. Of course, the concrete, as you saw, was mixed really dry, so I don't think it's a problem. This is our bent bars for the walls on the solar room. These go horizontally. They're the corners. We like to go around the corner, start down the next wall. We don't like any kind of bars ending in a corner. You can put anchorage on them. You bend like a 4-inch bend to the side, up, down, left, right. Doesn't make any difference as long as it's bent. To keep it from, and you hook that around some kind of bar that's coming the other direction, so it has to pull that sideways too. But it's just as easy to put a bend in the bar. It's less messy. And plus, you're carrying the steel right around the corner. If we have 16 of these bars across an 8-foot wall, you're basically tying those two pieces of concrete together with 16 bars. Plus, the concrete is continuous. It's not a wall that ended with some bars hanging out and then you run another wall away from it. It's one continuous piece of concrete. Then there's some shorter ones down here. I only had to make 10 of these. Oh, and of course they're out of the picture. Let's see if we can find them. Not up there. Okay, these ones down here, they're shorter because they come to a door. The only entry door on that whole thing down there. So they go around the corner until it hits the doors as wide as we can make them. And we'll play with the gimbal again here. You can see the difference between the short and the long. And that's some kind of a Tang. Not sure what kind. It's the window grill. I don't think those show up in the videos. These are eventually to be galvanized, so they'll be painted with acrylic paint after they're galvanized. Let's talk about this algae, moss, whatever it happens to be, growing on the side of the house. This is where things work. Another thing like the rain in the middle of a concrete pour. This is things that worked until they didn't. The idea here was we poured concrete. You can make the edge out here probably. That's the floor of the house. We did 17 inches deep, 24-inch wide tie beam from one of these big columns to the next. The whole house has that underneath of it. And the walls are centered on that. We poured the tie beams separate. They're not monolithic with anything. And then we poured the floor across, from one end of the house to the other. It's like 8 inches thick. Rebar is 7 inches on center, number 16. And most of the columns, all the uprights are 16th, and the stirrups are like 12. A few stirrups are 16, but most of them are 12. The idea with this concrete wall being poured, or floor rather, being poured out past where the wall will be, is it gives bearing for the wall, just like footers do. And it gives us the place to set concrete forms on, whether the kind we used to pour the first floor here, or the slip forms we use today. You need a flat surface to put them on. And you want your surface to be level so that your tops of your pours are level. And you need something to set them on where you could brace them for plumb. So once you bolt all these forms together, and in our case, the scaffold bolts to the forms, and it's got a diagonal brace at every attach point. So when we put that scaffold on there, as soon as somebody climbs up, it's not possible for the forms to be out of plumb. You haven't got to use a level. I mean, when you bolt that on the side, just kick it or shake it a time or two, the wall goes to plumb. And then it doesn't move. And once it's full of concrete, it really doesn't move. Anyway, we got this stuff growing out here. One of the main reasons that we poured this floor, other than supporting forms, because I don't like mud splashed up the side of a house. If it comes off of this, you can't see the drip edge. Yeah. Well, where is it? You can see the roof's round up here. You can see how far it comes out. The water will run off of that, and if it hit dirt down here, it would splash dirt 4 feet up the walls of the house. It would be over the windows and just make a mess. So the idea was to put concrete down here so that you didn't have that. Next picture. Here we go. We've got serious moss on this wall. And you can tell, here's our separation point for the floor. And you might be able to make out here in the distance, this is on a slope. This is a 30-degree slope. It goes down 8 inches and it goes across 18 and comes up. So this is the gutter for the house. And it's also got moss in the bottom. It's got a wide flange out here on the right. Move our camera. It's got a wide flange out here on the right that you can walk on. And you can walk on this inside because there's there's 2 feet here of our floor extension. Then there's 8 inches of gutter. So 32 inches of a sidewalk. And then on the outside over here, we got a sidewalk all the way around. And then the rain gutter, if we ever connect it, will go to the cistern. But the cistern fills up with rainwater without having the water off the house going into it at all. Right now, it goes out of the end of the gutter and down over the hill. I think this is probably once the water has run like the first good solid rain, not a typhoon, but a serious rain that rains a half an hour. It'll wash all the cement dust and crap out of this gutter, and then we would probably divert it into the cistern because it is rainwater, and the roof of the house is to be covered with ceramic tile. It's the cheapest thing I can put up there. This house is built cheap. I mean, it's got 7-inch thick poured concrete walls and 32-inch columns. There's a lot of concrete and a lot of rebar. But compared to any other kind of thing we could put up, the labor's really low. We reused the forms 36 times. The poured concrete is the same thickness as a 5-inch hollow block wall with render on both sides. It's 15% labor and materials cheaper than a hollow block wall. There's a video on it that shows you the numbers. If you don't believe it, look at the video. I wouldn't lie to you. I got no reason. I don't gain it. I'm not a monetized channel. I don't get a damn thing out of this. Oh. Anyway, around the outside of our sidewalk, what looks like jungle taking us over. That's only like 3 feet wide. This is bird of paradise and banana plants. They planted those banana plants for me because we had this terrible soil, and it looks so awful. And they wanted the Hajo to have some tropical stuff around his house. So they started off with like 6 bird of paradise plants and divided them like 3 or 4 times. Now we have about 1,000 of them. And we're harvesting bananas like 3 times a year. There's only 2 varieties as far as I know. One's cooking bananas, and one is a not very great eating banana, but you can eat them green. If you grew up with Dole bananas in the U.S., they're not as good as the Dole, but there's some Lacatans and things like that we're going to eventually just go out and buy some banana plants. You can grow bananas from the seeds in the banana. But I'd like to save 2 years. I'm 80 years old. I want to actually eat the bananas someday. It takes 3 years to get them big enough. Anyway, this worked until it didn't. This moss and what's the other thing that grows on there? Algae. This canal here sometimes has it's on a grade, but you'll get 3/8 of an inch deep of water in it. Spots here and there, might be 8 feet long. So it's a damp area. You can tell these birds of paradise are loving the dampness where they're living there. So the whole house is damp. Now this is skim coat. It's a polymer fortified Portland cement mixed with water. And there's an acrylic additive in a dry acrylic that's into the skim coat when we buy it. It's to add water and stir, but it's not got any mildewicides or any of that kind of stuff in it. So we're going to pressure wash this down with Clorox, and then probably neutralizer, just out of meanness. And then the paint we put on was probably going to be white anyway. We'll get some that the stuff won't grow on. I'm afraid to paint this concrete on the bottom because it'll make it slick to walk on. We could paint it and broadcast sand over it, but, I don't think I like that. This is that afternoon. He's working on 223 bars. 73 there. So that's the third one he's going to be painting. The short distance of a concrete slab, you can run it along the long direction because all the strength is in the rebar in the short direction. you only put 1/3 the bars in a long direction, you haven't lost a damn thing. That's what the books say to do. People in general just feel odd, and we put the same rebar both directions. And we did here. But you don't need all that. You're better off. If you take up every other one of the ones in a long direction and add them to your short direction, same amount of tonnage of steel, but you got a much stronger floor. Oh, I don't need to go on about that. Another view of our, this time, sand pile. It was also, the sand was, sand is 40 cubic meters to the truck. The rock is 42. Because the sand doesn't have the gaps, the air gaps between it like the rock does. So it's actually heavier when it's in cubic meters than the rock is. Well, the floor's been poured. It's all covered with garbage down here. I don't know what they spilled all over it. I don't know what that is there. It looks like the dog crap there. Anyway, they're starting to stack up some bags of rock and sand for this northwest corner. That'll be coming up next. I'm not sure where they are on that. I've been off electrical shopping, and my wife manages this build. But I told her to do that corner first. And we're putting Sahara in this rectangular thing. It's like 12 feet by 65. The first half of it is the electrical room for the batteries and inverters and all that. A work table. I'm not sure what else goes in there. And then there's a section that, if I wasn't so old, I'd have a shop. I'm too old to put in. I'll probably put the equipment in it. I might drill a hole now and again. We have plenty of stationary tools on the job. But I'm getting too old to stand up long periods of time. And then from that down to the entrance door down here on the other side, that's feed storage for the fish tanks. And if she puts the quail cages up here under the solar panels, I'd have to find out about what the ammonia fumes from bird poo could do to the finish on the bottom of those solar panels. Because the solar panels are worth a lot more to me than a bunch of little birds. If she wants to put them in down here in the feed storage thing and put the feed storage in the room above the septic tank, I guess that would work. I don't know where else she could put them. I don't care. As long as she doesn't put them in the house. Okay. You will have probably known by this point that this was not a 30-some minute long video. It's going to be cut into. All right. Everybody have a wonderful day. And this is where we're at now. Okay, that's back to the procession carriage. It's all stripped down. You can see the shape of the roof here. We don't maintain this carport here. This house belongs to her brother Ike. And time we saw that it was perforated, it was too late. There was just no way to fix the tin that was up there. And if somebody knocks the glass out, we'll put plywood in the windows. But that looks like Nana here. He's nailed bamboo across the door. I don't know what that's all about. But he has cut down where you can find the house, because there was bamboo growed up there too thick to walk through the place. Here's our unfinished, dirty kitchen. This guy here is 5'6". That's Benji. So he'd come up about here on it. 11-foot walls. Plenty big for a kitchen. Okay. I'll say a prayer for the people that are still surviving COVID. And the poor Ukrainians. Let them kick Russia's ass. Got no sympathy for a country that invades a neighbor. I don't know who's right or who's wrong, but I'm assuming the guy that invades somebody that's not bothering them. I think Russia's in the wrong. So anything that we can do to supply them cruise missiles for the state security building or the Kremlin, yay. Oil refineries, yeah. Get these guys to stay inside their own country. You'd think they would learn after what Germany did in World War II. You'd think they wouldn't do that, but everybody forgets. Okay. See you on the next one.